we're excited. We're excited to be live today.
Hi.
Yes. We are
Welcome,
live and we are
everyone.
recording. Yay. How are you? I'm so excited to be here, Tammy and Brenette. Welcome.
Hello.
I am too. So how are you today, Lori?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you so much. Super excited to have this conversation with Brenette. I hope I'm saying the word, the name correctly. Yay.
Yes, you are.
Oh, and we are so honored to have Brenette on today. She is actually a really good friend of mine. And we've known each other for over 20 years?
Yeah.
Or 26 years, actually, I think.
Yes.
So it's been a long time. And actually, Brenette is not only a good friend, she's a client of mine, and she's my hairstylist. she's this amazing woman. Every time you're at their salon, they make you feel like you're part of the family, like you belong, and how important, and they try their best and they do it to get the hair color the way you want it, the style. They make everybody feel warm and welcomed. So, which it's amazing. And I always feel blessed when I go over there. It's like, okay, this is my little free time, It's kind of like going to the spa. You know how you always feel good after massage and everything. Well, they do some different things at their salon to make you feel special. And hair stylists to me are artists. And how we were talking about our motto is unlocking freedom with nature and art. And that's why we have this amazing friend woman on here, Brenette, is because she is an artist.
Oh, so thank you.
Brenette.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm very humble and grateful to be on here. Tammy, you've been my friend forever. Lori, I'm just meeting you. So I appreciate you ladies so much for having me. This is actually my first time on Zoom and speaking and on a computer teching. So please be patient
for all those first times.
I appreciate it so much. Yes, I've been in the industry for a long time, and I don't feel like it's work. I don't feel like it's an industry. I feel like it is a change of changing women and men and making them into something more to make them feel, because we all need to feel something more and beautiful, right, ladies?
Yeah, exactly. And so can you tell us how you got started?
Basically, I got started when I was little. I was cutting my Barbie's hair, and then I cut my brother's hair, and then I would cut my sister's hair. And then my auntie pushed me into going to school and said, you should go into this industry. And I basically started in New Mexico, Arizona, worked there, and then worked my way up into Washington, and worked with my husband, who wasn't at that time. I was his apprentice. And then he ended up, well, I guess he just fell in love with his apprentice. But anyways, we've been doing hair. He's been in business over 45 years. Of course, I've only been in business for 32, wink, wink. But it's been a very great love story, a love affair with hair. Hair is not just hair. It is basically of who you are as when you walk in a door. Like, we look at people from when they come in, women and men, of what they're wearing, what purse they're carrying, because that it tells a lot about a woman. It tells a lot about a man, how much they want to either work on their hair or how much they don't want to. It's all in the experience of what we share. So that kind of opens it up a little bit of how we look at hair. It's not just cutting hair. It's the artistry of doing hair.
Brenette, I love that. And I want to ask you, what does that mean? Like the way you have described, how the person carries themselves, what are they wearing? So I don't know if I should give you my profile of how I do that when I go to a hair salon, because I am extremely simple. I am, more organic and authentic than this. I mean, so yeah. And I appreciate when you said how much they want to deal with it or how much they do not. So how do you determine that? Okay. So you kind of profile, which is very important with, especially with what you do, what some of us do. There's first impressions, right? So inevitably. So then from there, what? You have a conversation, and are some of those things surprising, like from the from the first assessment to the conversation? Do you get surprised sometimes as to what they want or who they are, or what they want for their hair?
Absolutely. And that's where consultation comes in, asking questions, just as you guys do and what your journey is, always asking a lot of questions. If I have a new guest coming in, I'll probably have a consultation for at least 20, 25 minutes, just to make sure that we pinpoint their needs and their wants and their desires, because those are all three different things. So how long are you going to be, washing your hair? How often are you going to blow dry your hair? How often are you going to style your hair? How often do you want to color your hair? So those are all the important questions as an artist that you need to ask those questions. It's very important.
That is amazing. And it shows how particular you are, paying attention to details and what matters most. I mean, and if you're watching, when you're watching this broadcast, recording or something, tell us horror stories about hair. Like, there's nothing more humiliating, right, than like, oh, I didn't want that. And I have a niece right now that she came to town for a wedding and she was wearing a hat all the time. Like, even before the wedding, I'm like, what's going on? And she was wearing a hat and I'm like, well, maybe fashion trends. She's way younger than me. And I'm like, okay, so what's going on? As it turned out, in California, of all places, she went and told her what she wanted, showed her pictures, and it ended up being a total mess and failure. And then for the actual wedding, she wore a wig. But off of that situation, she just kept wearing like her hats or whatever to cover up her beautiful hair that she has in somebody else. So she was traumatized. She was taking supplements to help her hair grow, she's like, and I'm like, why don't you? Anyway, she went somewhere else and they tried their best, but they said, no, we would need to cut it very, very, very short. Yeah. And she didn't want that. So she is just dealing with it right now. And what a joy is when Tammy says, oh, she's my friend forever. And she is amazing at what she does. So what a great difference.
Well, yes. And you know what? The motto is you get what you pay for. And if you want a decent hairstylist, don't expect to pay them $5, or a $10 haircut. They're artistic. And the training that Brenette has done, what people don't realize is it's not just going to school, right, Brenette? And I'm going to let Brenette talk a little bit more about this because she's the one who's did the training, but there's a lot that goes into this and a lot that they teach their staff. So
and continued education, I'm sure.
The continued education was so important.
Yes. And unfortunately, at this time of our industry, we're finding that education isn't as it was, but we're bringing that back. So we're bringing back the experience of education because that is what it makes you, molds you, folds you into having confidence, having to know what color, what palette looks great on one other human than another. So we started out our education, actually Goldwell, which is a very big brand now, came to us 35 years ago, before there was even hardly color, just starting, asked my husband to carry that into his salon. They actually built a foundation for us to learn how to use their color. There was extensive 1, 2, 3, 4, and we wanted them to build a 5, but we were learning so fast that they couldn't build it fast enough. So they would fly us New York, LA, Australia, all around to learn and to educate with these amazing humans. And now I'm seeing that passion is coming back, where people are starting to go, okay, we need to start educating. We need to put out these great artists again, because that has been lost. So we're here to bring all that back.
Great. So your husband and you team up to offer these classes, continued education
Absolutely.
classes?
My husband actually was one of the first men that trained with Vidal Sassoon. If anyone knows Vidal Sassoon, he was the guy that brought in the 60s, 70s geonomical haircuts where people and women wore those fashions. So that is actually a very strong suit in him. He teaches straight lines. He's amazing. His name is Ed Leifer. He's the one that got me into the industry and also into coloring hair. That is my passion, which I love.
Very good.
Exactly. And what's interesting, when Brenette's talking about this, so my stylist and hairdresser that I had when I was modeling in Eugene actually did a lot of the same training, and Goldwell was the number one thing She's like, when I moved, she's like, oh, you either have to come back or find a Goldwell salon.
You're right.
Carries. That's how important it is, because they have the specialty, you know, they're trained. And it's kind of like with any art or anything that we do in a business, if we're not trained completely, we're never going to be able to provide the best. It's like basically having their own mentorship program or coaching.
Right.
The Goldwell is helping them. And then what I see is Ed and Brenette do that with their own staff.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like Tammy and I, we have each our coaches, like we each have our coaches. We keep signing up for new skills, new trends that come, new technology that comes. So I'm sure that's the same in the beauty industry, right?
Yes, you know, and with Goldwell, that's why I've stayed with them, is because they have built a mentorship with other salons in other states and other countries. So if you have a person moving to another state or another country, you could say, hey, talk to your rep, and they send you to the best that they know, because they know they have educated them to the best of their abilities. So that is why Goldwell is probably one of the strongest brands in the nation, I believe.
Wonderful, wonderful. So we were having this conversation behind the scenes or before the live, because I'm like, I'm not sure if to bring it up during the live.
Please do.
So some maybe if you have this issue also, like if you're watching this, please say something, say a comment. I don't know, I don't want to feel isolated, and I don't think I'm an only situation here. I come from the Caribbean lineage, you know, with African descendants, etc. So and Spain and all that, but thus this, right? This is the result. But then my hair, this is my professional look, is what I say, part of my kind of brand. I've straightened it up for you guys, etc. But it's originally, if I get it wet, it just shrinks and gets curly, frizzy. And depending on the weather here in Texas, you walk out and it goes, whoop. You know, it does all crazy things. So when I moved from Puerto Rico to Texas, I started needing a haircut, and then I started calling around because I was afraid that people were not going to know how to deal with this head. And mind you, this is like in the late 90s, early 2000s. So many years ago. And then, you know, some places would tell me, no, we don't deal with ethnic hair. We don't deal with textured hair. So I was asking Brenette, how is that? I mean, I know we've come a long way from that. I know there's the curl divas and there's way more things out there available. But what was that idea back then? And when was a great awakening on how to deal with all kinds of textures of hair? And when did that happen, since you go so back in the industry?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, because it has changed tremendously, and a lot of texture is back in, and I don't think it ever goes really out. I think it's just how you are taught how to use that and how to use the tools that you have. And I do understand what you went through, because there was a point in time where they didn't do that. We don't do that, and that's not that case anymore. Your hair, absolutely. I know that you probably have a little bit more of a texture issue, but we have so much now that we can do or give, and like keratin blowouts, keratin treatments that can just maintain that. Or actually, you could even wear your hair soft and curly. So there's a lot that you can do, Lori. So you have beautiful hair, by the way. I've already got my eyes going, what can I do? What can I do?
I know. If Lori,
so
when Lori comes up here, we're not saying if, when she comes up here, I'm gonna have to bring her over to the salon, right?
Yeah,
that is so fun. Oh my goodness, I don't know, because I'm also very traditional and I like to like keep it simple.
Yes.
But we have